Well, it's kind of warm here in Colorado, and it is almost winter time, so I'm going to take advantage of this weather and do some more wrenching outside. And today's project is the WRX, specifically the 2024 VB WRX that I've had for the most part of 2025. Got this one back in March. It was a 2024 leftover because you actually couldn't get 25s at that point. But anyway, I've done a few things to it, shot videos on pretty much everything. Biggest thing has definitely been the Sparco Terra wheels. Still has the stock 17-inch tire Dunlop on there. Otherwise, OEM style mud flaps. What else? Visually, that's pretty much it. I do have a nameless performance axle back exhaust. Shot a video on that one. Definitely a bit louder. Not really sure about performance, but sounds cool. And stock basically intake for now, although I did put a K&N filter and got rid of that little secondary filter on there. So I think for the most part that is it. But it's been a fun car. But now is time to do another more of a visual update that I think will be equally as improvement as the wheels have been, and that is in the back. We are going to install, which is sitting over here on the poor Pontiac Solstice, which is acting as a workbench today. But this is AeroFlow Dynamics STI style wing. I think on their box they call it a 2025 Subaru WRX STI wing spoiler. But anyway, this is their 5-piece style wing. This is the main portion of the wing, and then there's the end plates and the bottom piece. First thing we're gonna do is basically just put the wing together, and then once that's together, we do have to drill some holes. That's really the only thing that's not particularly hard, but a little different. Is you have to put, I think it's 3 holes on either side into the trunk, and then you put the bolts through the inside of the trunk that go into the wing to hold it down. So let's get the various pieces taken or opened up here, see what we have in the hardware, and then basically assemble the wing itself, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so here's what we have. We have the base, I don't know, the wing main piece itself, whatever you want to call it. And then there's 4 pieces to make the base and side end plates, or whatever you want to call it, the wing. It does look like the end plates work as the main connector between the base and the overall horizontal wing itself. You actually put little studs into those over here. You actually just thread in these little studs with, I think it's probably 3mm, to attach that to the wing end plates, and then you just bolt them in. That puts together the wing itself. I should clarify, they do include a little wrench, I guess, if you really need to use it. And then there's some foam you put on the bottom of the wing where you mount it to the wing base, I guess you could say, where you mount it to the trunk. So here's all the hardware. This also includes the bolts that go into the actual trunk itself through the inside, which mount the wing to the car. And ironically, it's a little hard to tell because the Solstice is so dirty, but it's almost the identical. It's really almost the same color red as what this car is. But anyway, let's get this put together first. We'll start by putting the foam on the bottom of the bases, put the studs in, then assemble the wing. There's really not much to it. We'll get that put together, and then it's time to drill some holes, because that's the only time we have to be a little more careful and make sure everything's lined up, and then obviously access through the inside of the trunk. So shouldn't be too bad. Well, the foam on the bottom of the bases and the studs on the end plates have been installed. Nothing terribly I don't know, tricky or complicated. The only thing I noticed is one stud on each end plate didn't really stop that well. So you got to be careful you don't thread it in too far. Most of them went a handful of turns and then stopped. One on each side seemed to keep going, so you only need to go so far. Obviously, you don't want to go, I don't even know if you could, but you don't want to go through the thickness of the whole wing end plate. And then on the foam side, just do it in 2 pieces and just do half and half and get the foam on there support-wise, or support. Glue on the foam is a little pliable, so you can actually kind of pull it off a little bit as you go, and then just make sure to get down pretty nice once you're completely around on both sides. And yeah, that's really it. Then there's washers, lock washers, and then a nut on each one of these studs. It goes through either the wing itself or the base plate. 3 in the base plate, 2 on the wing, and then the wing's put together. So that hardware over here, I believe, would be lock washers, regular washer, and then these nuts. So we'll put it together and we will go from there. Well, there it is, all mounted up on the Pontiac. I'm sure you didn't expect that to be the end result, but it looks bad. Does not look good. No, I'm just kidding. This is obviously not for the Pontiac, but everything's mounted up. Went together pretty easy. So, yeah. Or did I say mounted up? I meant bolted up. Now it's time to mount it to the actual WRX. And let's see what that's like. All right, moving around to the trunk. It's time to get this thing mounted up. And first thing you do need to do is remove this, whatever you want to call it, plastic foam cover piece thing. It's held on with a bunch of clips. If you don't have one of these clip removal tools, I highly recommend it. Amazon has them super cheap, but they will save you from ever really busting these things up. You can use a flathead screwdriver, but they just make it so much easier. So anyways, about, I don't know, 8 or 10 of these. That opens up the entire trunk, and then, believe it or not, it's time to drill. And you're actually, the first hole can actually be drilled from the inside going out. There's no real like formal instructions for this. Probably should clarify. There may be instructions. I didn't get any. There's some random videos floating around that kind of people install these before, doing a much more detailed job than I'm explaining here. But there's a little template piece that guides you where to drill these holes, but there's a way to kind of get a little head start, and that is you actually drill the top 2. I guess when the trunk's open, you drill this hole out, or I guess out into the top of the trunk, same as here, and then that allows you to be kind of a guide for your template, even though the template's pretty straightforward, to mark and then drill the rest of your holes. I believe, I think this might be where the second hole comes through, maybe here, and then the third one actually comes here on the outside. You got to be careful, because if you drill with the trunk closed, you actually go into the rubber molding here. So this one, then one of these, not quite sure, but the rest you come from the top down, and then the third one on the outside. So let's get these top 2 drilled. Let's get the 5/16. I should clarify. I don't want to clarify what size that is, but hang on a second. I am using a 5/16. Okay. Yeah, just confirming that size there. And then, yeah, let's drill a couple holes and go from there. Okay, so there you go. Hole number 1 and 2, or 1 on each side, is drilled. And on the outside, there they are. I'll try to clean that up a little bit and then put the template on, drill the rest. One thing to point out, and you probably kind of see right in here, is I have a tiniest little dent and scuff mark that could possibly clean up on the top of the trunk here, because we had some snow a couple weeks ago, first snow of the year, and I'm just scratching some ice. We got ISO all over the back windshield, and the handle broke, and so I'm scratching like this, and boom, it comes down, and sure enough, with this tiny little scratch, it's not even so much a scratch, it's almost a depression, and scuff of the paint. But believe it or not, the wing is going to completely cover that. So I totally made out. But anyway, let's get the template over here, clean these up, get the template over here, and drill the other 2 holes. All right, so here's a little template that it comes with. And basically all I did was, and you can see here's my scuff mark, but template, just line the template with a hole you already already drilled. And then mine came all messed up here, but just make sure the template, hard to do with one hand here, but just make sure the template aligns to the corner of the trunk. And then what I did is I just took a little punch, or whatever you call it, and just put a little depressed mark on each hole. And then that should be good enough to drill it through. And everything does align up, and that should be what you need. Drill this way down, and then just repeat the same process flipped over here. One thing to note, you kind of see where I depressed them down a little bit, is this one is the one you don't want to drill all the way through. So I am going to put a little piece of tape on top here. I don't know if you really need to, but hopefully it helps a little bit from really marring up the paint, even though it really doesn't matter. You're literally drilling holes in your trunk. But anyway, let's do that. Get these holes drilled, open up the trunk, get the second part of this hole drilled, and that's it. There's one hole internally you want to make a little bit bigger. I don't have step bits. I can't believe I don't have any. So we'll just do it with a regular drill bit and try not to mar it up too much. But let's finish this up. Okay, almost all the holes drilled, or for the most part drilled. Original hole, this one goes all the way through. This one currently goes halfway. Same as these over here. And my little stupid scuff mark. But all the way through, and this one's halfway. So we'll open up the trunk. We'll drill this one the rest of the way. Clean these up a little bit, and then bolt it up. So actually mounting the wing to the trunk lid is a little tricky, especially when you're a one-man show like me. But what I did was lay the bubble wrap down on the windshield, or the rear glass, put the wing in the position it's supposed to be on the glass, kept the trunk open up like it is, and I just started with the middle hole, and actually found that I had to do a little extra chewing on this middle hole so I could get the socket fully in, because it wasn't quite centered, but that should be okay. And got the middle 2 bolts on the wing, halfway on maybe, just enough that now I can work on these top 2, which are a little tricky, and then the bottom 2, which should be pretty simple. So the reason I say the top 2 are tricky is over here in our pile of parts, there's these little spacers, for lack of a better term. And the top 2, when the trunk's open, need a longer bolt. So then the spacer goes in, because there's 2 different pieces of steel that you're going through on the trunk. So you need to kind of have it in that position. So that'll be next here. It's a little weird because I do not have small hands, but you have to get the spacer inside this little bracket thing here. And honestly, it's not too bad. So I can get my hand in here if I put it like this, or maybe like this, and then twist it over, and I can get my hand over there. So have to get a little creative, but have to get, oh, it's so tight with my hands, but get that spacer in there. You can kind of see, you can move the wing around a little bit and get that hole to align. Same thing with that hole down there. Over here, that hole is, if you pick up a little bit, that aligns, and then down here aligns as well. So anyway, a little finagling, or lack of a better term, to get them all lined up. Get the bolts in, tighten them up, and we'll finally be done. All the bolts have been tightened up, and put the little trunk cover back on. And when you do that, you really can't tell much of anything except the one hole here and the one hole over here. So let's see what it looks like when we close the trunk. Oh, it's looking good. Oh, there we go. Definitely looks better from the back. Coming around to the side here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely a good look. I'm sure if you've seen some of my other videos, I've commented before how I'm not a huge fan of sedans, which is funny and ironic because I bought a sedan. But I really think that wing helps a lot. It really gives more of a balance to the back, takes away some of the traditional sedan look. It has a very short trunk anyway on these cars. So yeah, turned out pretty nice. And one thing I did just notice here when closing that is you can kind of see there's the tiniest little, probably can't point out so well, but the middle of the mount on this side and over here on this side, there is the tiniest little kind of, I don't even want to say warp, but kind of change in the trunk shape where the 3 bolts kind of tied in and pulled everything together, but it looks even on both sides. So overall, I say it looks good. Alignment, considering you kind of just wing it and don't know what's going to happen, that looks good as well. And one other thing too, I'm pretty sure when I was putting together, you can still access the nuts here on the bottom, which is nice. The bolts on internally, you'd have to actually take the cover away on the trunk for the most part, but you can access it, so after a while you can check and tighten it down a little bit more, because you know it could loosen up a bit over time. But yeah, I would say that turned out pretty good, considering or all things considered. So yeah, another thing done on the WRX, and that's another big change. Wheels were a big one. I think this wing is a big one. And yeah, I think for now we're, well, almost done with the interior mods. Well, I think that'll be it for now. Another nice improvement on the WRX, and yeah, definitely more to come. There's probably one more thing actually relatively soon I'm going to do to the car, and that'll probably be it for a little bit for the winter. But once spring rolls around, March or so, that'll be a year with the car. So I think it's about time for some more power. I think it's about time we tune this thing up. So literally. So yeah, I think it looks good. So that's going to be it for now. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.